Welcome to this episode of Soulful Prosperity. Today, we're joined by a truly inspiring guest, Justin Breen, CEO of Epic Fit Network. Justin is a powerhouse in connecting visionaries, driven by a deep purpose to uplift humanity. His journey is one of alignment and intention, fueled by the principles in Dr. Deepak Chopra's 7 spiritual laws of success, so much so that Dr. Chopra himself is writing the introduction for Justin's upcoming book, Epic Journey. Justin's mission goes beyond business. He's here to help visionaries tap into their potential and make an impact that resonates far beyond themselves into purpose. Join us as we dive deep into his incredible story, the purpose behind Epic Fit Network, and how he's creating connections that truly serve humanity. This is a conversation you don't want to miss. Welcome, Justin.
Tremendous intro. Thank you. Very grateful.
We could thank ChatGPT.
Thank you, Chat. I'd use ChatGPT all the time.
But when you have to inject your heart and soul into it, and
Yes.
then you get a beautiful product, because that is how I would write it.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so the show is Soulful Prosperity, and I like to begin. Of course, I don't have something to write on. Let me get my paper so I can take notes. But I like to begin with your story, your journey. How did you get here?
How did anyone get here? Yeah, it's an interesting. How did we? What the So in human years, I'm 47 years old. But I've for 47 years, I've been getting here to this moment, and then I've always been like this. But I've been reading, or just finished it, the late great Dr. Wayne Dyer. I was reading his memoir, I Can See Clearly Now. I Can See Clearly Now. And before he would give speeches or do interviews, he would say this line to himself. So I'm going to say the line. Quote, "If you knew who walked beside you at all times on this path that you have chosen, you could never experience fear or doubt again." It's a pretty good line. And then that's consciously, unconsciously, that's been my whole life in this lifetime. Just pure going for it, no excuses, following my heart. So that's why we're here right now.
Wow. You know what? I'm actually getting chills right now as you said that, because you are an exact replica physically of one of my favorite human beings in the world who passed away a couple of years ago. Now, I did not channel him this morning, but I did channel someone amazing in my life this morning. And then here you come showing up looking exactly like Tim Mars.
That would make sense.
Very cool. Very cool.
And that person's life purpose was?
He struggled. He struggled to the very end. He was an Irish immigrant, one of 8, and came to this country, raised his family, but had a very, one of my journeys is to heal the ancestry. Now, I am not a Mar. I've married 2 Mars, if you can believe that. So I am a Mar in some ways, but I am also very, very Irish. And so what part of my mission is to heal the ancestry.
So I just okay. So thank you. This type of situation, when I wasn't as evolved consciously, it maybe happened once a week. Now this is 5 to 10 times a day. So I'm just going to give you an example, because talk is meaningless to me unless. So today, actually 20, 30 minutes ago, I wrote this poem.
Okay.
I think it'll be a song, because what happened yesterday was this, and I just live my purpose. Okay. Follow God's path or higher power path, and then things happen, right? Because you just live it. And so yesterday, a music producer in Nashville who works with the biggest people on planet, they reached out to me because they've been reading my poems on social media, and they're like, "Oh, we need to make a new version of this famous song from the '80s with your poetry," and then she'll put the music producers together. I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." So I'm going to Nashville in a couple of weeks. Great, fine. I'm very grateful for that. So, and then this is emotional for me, but I wrote this today. It's kind of long, but not long, but it's long enough. And then after I wrote this, I asked ChatGPT to make a picture of it or an image of it uh, based on the mother and her son standing at the Irish Sea. So I said specifically the Irish Sea. Okay, so that's just how my life works. It's what it is. Okay, so this is called the Warrior Mother. So I did this at 8:33 a.m. Central Time. It's 9:09 a.m. Central Time here now. We're in Chicago. November 14th, 2024. Okay, so this is what I wrote. Repent, your father says, wished you'd never been born. The ex hits and abandons, he is only filled with scorn. The court and country are against your kind, their male ego is truly blind. But still you fight for your great son. Because you know his truth, he is the one. Bleeding out on the hospital bed, so many sad thoughts fill your head. But there is simply this matter of fact, you do everything to keep your boy on track. He will change the world because of his mother's love. He will break the trauma, he will break the chain of trauma's past because he is guarded by you in heaven above. There is no greater spirit on earth than the warrior mother. To her son, she is mom, dad, and soul brother. The sweet boy walks through the trees, staring at sunsets before salty seas. He snuggles up at night like a wiggly worm before he begins his daily dreaming turn. The eyes will open at morning's dawn. The warrior mother takes life head on. So hopefully that'll be a hit song because I think that speaks to a lot of women, whether or not they have children or not.
Wow, I love it. Love the synchronicities. Such a blessing. Really amazing. And I'll have to find a picture when I get back home because there's none probably.
Oh, here. Wait, hold on. I'll show you the here. So I'll just show you the can people see this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
There it is.
Beautiful. So you're saying you basically came into this world knowing and being able to live your purpose.
Oh, well, okay. So yeah, yes, and there, I guess, yes. And then what I've learned is, I guess, from as weird as this sounds, or weird actually comes from the word WYRD, which means finding destiny. So it actually is weird. That's what weird means. But from an assessment standpoint, there's a reason why. And these are things I've learned fairly recently. So in human design, which is a great assessment, I'm what's called a manifester. It's very rare. It's less than 9% of the population. And so I can just think about something happening and then it will just happen. I have to wait a little longer than I'd like because the rest of the world needs to catch up. But so I can just manifest it. So I'm like, oh, it'd be great if Deepak Chopra did intro for book. Deepak Chopra. Oh, it'd be great if created a global mastermind that connects visionaries to serve humanity. Woo! We're just named one of the top 5 masterminds on planet. Oh, it would be great if this poetry led to something. And now here's okay. And then so that's the manifester. Most of the world is like a generator or a manifesting generator or a projector. So they take the energy or thoughts from a manifester and then they do something with it. Okay, so that's one. And then numerology, I'm an 11 life path, which is very rare. An 11 is a master number. Most people are 1 through 9s. And then the 11 is pure intuition, psychic, very spiritual. The first half of their life, there's a ton of ego, achievement, very male driven. And then the second half of life is my friends in my fraternity would laugh at this when I say this, but the second half of life is the rise of the divine feminine, very emotional, incredibly romantic, spiritual. So I think that poem/song reflects that. So I'm actually like 2 different people in one person, if that makes sense.
Wow, that makes sense. I get most of it. I'm pretty new to human design. I'm rare more in the profile type. I'm a 5-1 generator.
Yeah, right. So you take
but-
my energy and you do something.
But the 5-1 is a very complicated
Oh,
profile.
yes. So I'm a
fall from
6-2.
grace.
Yeah,
I have
right.
50% love me, 50% hate me, but I spent most of my life being a people pleaser. So even the 50% that love me would turn on me eventually. But now that I have learned this, I just need to project who I am, what I want,
Okay, 2 things from that. Thank you. So 2 things. So 1, human design, the true wisdom doesn't kick in until age 50. So I'm -2. I do think this book is
+4.
Congratulations, you were just born. And then it's very rare, shocking. I'm a 6-2 manifester. So 6-2 is called
the highest rare, and mine is the second highest.
Yes. Well, of course. So and then 6-2 is an exemplary human. So exemplary means either the very highest form of good or complete evil disaster.
Right. Nothing in between. Sinner or saint.
Right. So hopefully it's the former. However, and I'm being very serious about this, if I had to risk, and I have to finish this book and other things, if I have to risk everything good to do this, then so be it. There's no in between. So
wow, okay. I've known, there's people in my life now that I understand human design. It's like you want to go back and get all their information just because you think you know what profile or what energy they are, and so on and so forth. So.
And when's your birthday? Because I can do your numerology right now if you want.
So I'm October 7th, 1970.
Okay, hold on. All right, so that's 8 plus 10 is 18. Plus 7 is 25. So you're a life path 7. Right?
Which makes sense.
Hold on. Okay. Intuitive. They have a strong ability to intuit and are drawn to fields that allow them to research and expand their knowledge. They are investigative, questioning, and sharp, and use facts and intuition to create new insights. They are eager to create progressive solutions to problems and use any knowledge or insight to reach their goals. They are naturally inclined toward introspection and solitude, which they use to fuel their inner journey. They are driven to seek knowledge, truth, and insight, and will explore any information available to get to the truth. So that aligns with your 5-1, by the way.
So does.
Right. So people can. So there's 2 things from this. One, literally, and all I do is talk to top visionaries on the planet or people that will do whatever it takes. They have no excuses. So I literally none of these have been wrong for any of them. And 2, like, I guess in human world or whatever you want to call it, you can argue this stuff. It's fine. You go ahead. But what I've seen in the world is logic only takes you so far, and then after that, the only logic is illogic and love. Like that's so my whole life now is illogic and love. That's the only logic that makes sense to me. Yeah.
I love that. And so I'm going to take one of my practices that I haven't been very good at, and I can tell that you are, or one of my goals, but I like to call them practices, is to get into playful innocence. And, that was who I was as the child and growing up, and then had a lot of traumatic stuff go on for a long, long period of time. And that's the goal. That's where I want to get back to. I want to dance and sing and write poetry and do all the things that you're doing. So kudos to you.
Oh, thanks. So, thank you for saying that. My father was 61 when I was born. 61. He was a World War II hero, shot down multiple times in combat, many times without a parachute, and would just get back into a plane. So I literally don't. What? Yeah. Well,
sounds like me.
Literally don't understand.
World War II, but in my timeline, I have been shot out of a plane without a parachute, landed, got up, and walked away probably 5 times.
Okay, so again, we can do this all day. This is my whole. This is what happens, and then I don't understand people who make excuses. I just literally, and then the world is a giant excuse. That's what the world is, which is fine. I don't understand it, but it's fine.
It's the unconscious. It's because they're not conscious. Raising people's consciousness is my ultimate mission, because I can see it. I can see it in my children. I can see it in people around me. And And, that's why. So it's like,
Okay.
yeah, I'm with you, no excuses, but getting them, and it's happening. It's all happening. It's all happening right now. So it's going to be a very different place in 40 years or 50 years from
Oh,
now.
whatever. Yeah. And a true visionary lives well past their own lifetime. One of the chapters in the Epic Journey manuscript, it's going through the editing process now. Oh, and this is a funny story. So I can't announce who the publisher is, but it's a big deal and whatever that means. But so I sent my publisher a photo of the I Can See Clearly Now book,
Mm-hmm.
and he sent back he sent back a picture of a book he did with Wayne Dyer. I'm like, oh, good, makes sense. So my publisher's one of the he's one of the top publishers in the world. He's got a whole team of great people working on the manuscript, which is fine. But so one of the chapters in the manuscript is called Adult Kindergarten. Whether it makes the cut, we'll see. But Adult Kindergarten. So the inventor of kindergarten in Germany, Prussia, or whatever it was called in the mid 1800s, kindergarten was banned a year before he died. Because it went against religion and that kind of thing. 'Cause, wow, kids having fun. You can't do that. And and so he begged the Prussian king, please don't ban kindergarten. And then eventually they unbanned it after he died. And then one of his distant relatives was running one of the schools he started. So that's a true visionary. And then two, talk is meaningless to me. Like you just do it. So I would describe the company that I helped start, this mastermind, as Adult Kindergarten. That's what it is. Like, it's the top visionaries on the planet, or folks that'll make an investment. They won't make an excuse. No excuse. They'll make an investment to be in a room like that because they want to be around people that aren't making excuses. And it's the safest, most vulnerable, happy place for people that actually get it. Because visionaries are the most misunderstood people on the planet. The most misunderstood.
Well, true to my human design, I'm both a visionary and what I would call an implementer. I have both. I have both sides, which is interesting. So tapping into that journey with the divine feminine, because honestly, I've spent most of my life in masculine energy. I was single mom, came off the streets, blah blah blah. So I was in survival mode most of my life.
Oh, right. So I just read. I just read your. That's pretty fun. Oh man, that's pretty good. And then there are only 4 things that separate visionaries from non-vision. Only 4.
What are they?
Okay. 1, bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. 2, depression. 3, highest level of anxiety you can imagine. 4, trauma as a child or young adult. So business owners, consultants, humans, whatever that is, those are excuses. Visionary figured out. No excuses. No, what do you cost or charge? No, I can't afford this. No, I need to wait 8 months. No.
Yeah.
No. So, and then what I've seen and this is fine. It's totally fine. Most people have broken hearts, aware of basically nothing, and then it creates a hive consciousness, and then where most of the world's aware of nothing, and then I'm paraphrasing this quote, but a Carl Jung disciple, Robert Johnson, he did a lot of books on shadow work. Tremendous. What a genius he was. And paraphrasing his quote, but for a select few, there is a determination to seek liberation from social hypnosis, social conditioning. So the visionary will, the word business means anxiety. The word sale means dull and dirty. Average means damage to a ship. Religion means to bind. So there's all these words, and people are just living in these human constructs, conditioning. But for the visionary, they'll do whatever it takes to break free of that. And so I needed to create a room where people actually are doing that, and then they'll invest to be in that room.
I love it. I think that's amazing. And and obviously that kindergarten concept in our country, we have pre-K now. So we got 2 years of it because it is. And my granddaughter's 4, and she had interesting, entry into the world.
Mhm.
And, born right before COVID, her parents kind of went deep into fear and anxiety.
Or
And she's broken free and she's in this pre-K and she's running the world, where it's like at 3, she was barely, acknowledging human beings, which I get. But yeah,
great.
so the whole concept of kindergarten, it literally has healed like anything that was. I don't like using the word damage. I don't even like using the word healed anymore. But I think you understand what I'm saying. She's a visionary. This girl, forget it. Like, and that kindergarten environment really brought out the best in her. It's
Great.
beautiful to watch. So seeing that for human beings, yeah, we need it desperately. I mean, and
Mhm.
there's so many, hypocrisies that kids enter into after
Mhm.
kindergarten.
Yeah.
So having that as a foundation, I agree,
Yep.
and coming back to it. There's a great quote about that, right? Everything we need to learn about life, we learned in kindergarten.
Yeah. I mean, it's and then what I've seen happens is the ones who can't break free of it, they just get conditioned into whatever that
It's a,
is.
it's
Um,
a mediocrity or misery.
average. Average means damage to a ship, so that's what I mean. Average. And again, it's fine. It's okay. Um, our sons are 12 and 10, and they're great warriors. Great warriors. Our 10-year-old was telling me. Again, my dad was a warrior, but the 10-year-old was telling me. Um, he's a manifester, also, by the way. Just a pure, beautiful soul. And he was telling me uh, he wants to be a Green Beret and go to West Point. I'm like, great, perfect, go, awesome. He goes, well, what if I die in battle? I go, well, that's what it was meant
That's
to
your
be.
journey. Yeah.
And so most parents be like, ah! But and then I don't remember what somebody asked me. They're like, well, uh, what's being a good parent or dad or whatever that means. And then our kids were our actually it was my children that were asking me that. They're like, what does it mean to be a good parent? That's interesting that I put that. But we were at dinner, just me and the boys, and they were talking about what does it mean to be a good dad. And I go, uh, I go, it allows being a good dad allows the children to critically think for themselves, to ask good questions like, what does it mean to be a good dad? So that's really what. And then my advice to them is misdemeanor, okay, felony, bad. That's literally my entire parenting. I don't just stay out of their way. Yeah, no helicoptering.
There's a lot of good life lessons in being arrested. Okay.
100%. Yeah, I haven't. Knock on wood, I haven't been. I should have. I mean, I wrote this in the manuscript. I should have been arrested so many times.
I have. I can just tell
Congratulations.
you that.
Mm. So I was just at this event in Austin, Texas, called Conscious Capitalism. The founder of Whole Foods is one of the founders of that. It was a great event. John Mackey. John. And then, and that's fine. And then on the way back to the airport, was taking Uber or Lyft, whatever, and then I was talking to the driver. Good man. And so most people in lifts, I'm guessing they don't talk to the driver, or they're on their phones or ignore, but I'm endlessly
Yeah.
curious. I was talking to him, and I could, I was a journalist for 20 years, so I could, sense.
Mm.
And so he was, I'm like, were you in prison? He goes, yeah, I was in prison for 10 years. He was white collar crime. He was an entrepreneur, still is, but he got to the dark side of entrepreneurship and got caught doing it. So 10 years in prison. So right before I got out of the lift, I go, so what's the number one thing you learn in prison? Oh, would you like to know what it is, or should I just not? Just kidding. So he goes, number one thing I learned is when you point one finger forward, there's 3 pointing back. Yeah.
Shadow work. Shadow work.
Yeah. So that's the number one thing. Yeah. And then one of my great friends, he's in the book. If this doesn't make the cut from the manuscript, that would be sad, but I can't imagine it would. But his name's Alfonso James. He served 32 years. 32 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. He wasn't even at the scene of the crime. By the way, he's a 6'2" in human design also. Ooh, shocking. And he describes that as a blessing and a burden, which I agree with that. But
I agree wholeheartedly. I had a situation in my life about 4 years ago where someone was threatening and making accusations, and I literally came like, okay, I can do my work in prison. Like, I'm good.
yeah, whatever.
I'm good.
Oh, good. Well, maybe this quote will help you. So he's been saying this quote since 1985. The same quote. Um, and the quote is, he that is perfect is perfecting perfection in me. He that is perfect is perfecting perfection in me. So he's been saying that quote every day since 1985. What a great man, and a great man. And so now he's going to change the world, all that stuff, and really help people on a global level. So I'm helping him do that.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. So your wife, I'm making an assumption, but I see a ring and I hear children, so I think it's a safe assumption. I Does she follow these living in your purpose and following your purpose and all that?
Very intuitive question. Okay, so just as background, my entire day is talking to either the world's top visionaries or those that will never make an excuse to become. Okay, that's my whole day. And then this is the rare exception where I do more talking than normal. Usually I just sit there and listen because most of them have ADD, diagnosed or undiagnosed. They just talk and I just sit there and listen. Okay. So, and then from that listening and learning, I see patterns. Okay. It's a pattern. And so usually, not always, but usually, not always, visionaries marry high performing, stabilizing humans. Usually, not always. So think school teacher. My wife's a pediatrician, nurse, social worker, a human, I don't know, whatever, an engineer, lawyer.
Yep.
And then what I've seen is one of two things happens. One of two. One, this happens more often than not. In fact, this is the vast majority. One, the stabilizing human cannot evolve with the visionary, questions everything, doesn't understand, and then either whether they stay married or not, it's a disaster because there's no divide. Okay. Two, with my wife, she is evolving. She's incredibly smart, deeply empathetic. Harmony is her number one strength finder. So she now works 4 days a month as a pediatrician. She was full time. She runs the Epic Fit Network. She does all the backstage stuff. She is an adult pediatrician now because our members are basically little children with ADD and they're all over the place. So she's an adult pediatrician. She and her assistant run the company. And she has her own TV show now with 30 million reach for entrepreneurship women. She's become a great connector. And then I think she's evolving in the spiritual aspect. I'm not sure about that, but that's up to her.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes people like us marry people like us. Sometimes. Most of the time, it's Thelma and Louise driving off the cliff, and then because there's no stability, and then the other rare times, it's the greatest life ever. Usually, there would be like a home house manager, caretaker, or something like that, and then they just travel the world. It's an incredible experience, but that's the rarity. So those are the patterns that I've seen.
And what's your patterns?
With my wife?
Yeah.
I would say evolving and understanding as best as possible. And I told my wife a week after we met that I loved her because I knew she would give me stability. And she was confused when I said that. And then if she hadn't have married someone like me, she would have, which is fine. She would have had a normal life. She would have had
Right.
nutrition. So now she sees the kids a lot more. Um, she runs the company. The company's success is because of
She's
her.
having some fun.
I mean, you'd have to ask her that. But I would, I think think of the nicest person on the planet. That's my wife. So the fact that she gets to see our children all the time, and I think this is fair to say, kids need their moms more than their dads. I think for the most part. So the fact that the kids get to see her all the time, that's wonderful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What is the greatest lesson you've had out of being a dad?
Well, my father died when I was 13. He'd be 108 now. So I know what it's like not to have a dad around. Even though in this book, I followed his war diary. He's a war hero. Followed his war diary to this obscure town in France where I think I found the secret. Well, no, I know I did. I found the secret to life, which is, that's good. So he's still alive consciously.
Yep.
But from a human standpoint, I know what it's like not to have a dad. And then our sons are 12 and 10. So 12 is one less than 13 the last time I did math. So that's very young to lose a father.
Yeah.
So the number one thing I've learned from that is that it's interesting. Number one thing is that my children are more of like my dad and older brother than I am. I've learned far more from them. That's the number one thing. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So what's next? What's next for you? You've got this amazing community. You got your book coming out. Where is your purpose taking you?
Wherever higher power tells it to. I mean, it's
poetry and music sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that happened yesterday. I've been reading this book, "Comfortable with Uncertainty" by Pema Chandra. Pretty good. Well, it's good, and it's just kind of being in the present. Present is a gift.
Yep.
And then it's surrendering to outcome. That's been an interesting. The ego is very manipulative. It's very strong. It's protective. I mean, the ego protects you.
Yes.
And then second part of life or whatever I'm entering in human years, it's like it's doing that and really being aware of that, and then we're all born with these gifts from whatever you want to call it, God, higher power, whatever that is, and then it's a disservice to that and humanity not to utilize those gifts. So whatever gift I've been given, I'm just gonna do that. And just from a structural standpoint, strategic manifestors, again, very rare. They have to inform people how they feel, no matter what. No matter, like, if you are in love with someone, you have to tell them that. If you're annoyed with something, you have to tell them, and it's because it's to create peace. And so these type of things are part of that. Like, I have to tell people. It's not to upset them. It's not to like push them away. It's not to attract people. It's just because I have to inform people how I feel. I can't not do it.
Yeah. Wow. What is the best book you've read on, or best resource for human design, in your opinion?
Well, I haven't read a book on human design, but I'm happy to introduce you to human design. I've done several readings with her. She did a group session with the mastermind that I helped start. I'm happy to introduce you to her.
Yeah, do that.
I'll do that probably via Instagram.
Yeah, perfect.
But I mean, I'm here. So here are we got this. I got these books. These aren't human design. I got this one. Here's some other books.
Yep.
So I'm reading all these books, so I'm reading 2 to 3 books a week. Number one is, well, maybe I Can See Clearly Now is number one now, but 1A, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. That's still number one, because that's the ultimate no excuses. And then again, are you writing that down? I'll send you I don't know if I did all right. I'll send you the manuscript for Epic Journey for those who have read that.
Oh, you did. I'm going to start it this weekend.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you means acknowledging the other person's humanity. But for those who have read The Alchemist or Little Prince, this book is that, but real. Like
right.
It's that type of pain and all that, whatever you want to.
It's funny because I wouldn't. So may I give an observation with that? You don't offend easily or anything like that.
No, I don't offend.
So in the little, as I'm getting to know you, it almost feels like you're Teflon, like things just roll off of you.
Yeah.
And so when you say that this manuscript has pain, that makes me go, it doesn't necessarily match what I'm experiencing here with you right now. The energy.
When you read it, you'll see.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that because it sounds like an interesting kind of juxtaposition, and which I experience a lot of, because I am a visionary. I am on the journey. I don't make excuses. I have got up, walked away unscathed, risen from the ashes more times than you can imagine. But I suffer heartbreak. I suffer from abandonment issues, and
I just read the poem about you.
I transcended. I transcend. I have transcended because I don't want to spend my life healing. Okay, because at some point I believe you can just move on without suppressing. I think that is totally capable. Hop into a new timeline, right?
Yep.
So, so I'm sure it's filled of that sort of contradictions, but life, what is that called? Not the paradox. Yeah, like that, but there's another word I'm looking for. Those polarizations, right? Like you are all or nothing, right? Or a sinner or a saint, you said earlier. And I think that is life, right? That there, with every negative, there is a positive. And so that's natural. That is life. That is part of being a human being. That's part of the universe and the cosmos and everything there is. And so we cling to what we think is, oops, did my mic just go off?
No.
Okay. We cling to whatever we perceive as the right thing. But I love how I can sense from you, no fear of the shadow and no fear of
You're owning your own shadow. There's the, I don't again. So, well, no, it's not only, the shadow is necessary. The shadow it's essential.
So many beautiful gifts. I'll give you a very quick story. Laziness was one of the things that really triggered me, and I judged the most and was really hard on my children about. And when I was in real estate for 30 years, the agents I mentored to this, if you were lazy, like I just didn't have,
Yeah.
So in that process, one of the Debbie Ford's Dark Side of the Light Chasers, one of the exercises she gives in there is owning, saying, I am lazy, I am lazy, I am lazy, I am lazy, which is completely counter.
I just finished one of her books. It's downstairs.
She's amazing. So I am lazy. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm fucking lazy. It's not, it's a beautiful thing. And since I've given my laziness a seat at the table, my downtime used to be like guilt-ridden, binge watching, eating some ice cream, but it wasn't super enjoyable because it was guilt-ridden. So now my downtime is, what book am I reading? What am I drawing? What am I doing? What am I singing? What am I learning? And like, it's accepting that laziness has brought me to a whole new level of growth. Amazing. So here we spend all this time judging.
Right. There's 3 fingers pointing back. It's not.
And so much closer with my daughters, as a result.
That would be logically.
Yeah.
And again, I think you're 4 years old. Is that correct? You're 4. Here, can you see this? I don't know can you see that?
Yeah.
So I drew that a couple of weeks ago.
I love that. I love that. Did you say I'm 4 years old? What does that mean? 54. Yeah.
Yeah, we're 4 years old.
54. Yep. Yep. I'm 54 and experiencing a new freedom that I've never had, new levels of joy, new levels of knowing.
You haven't even entered pre-kindergarten yet. Wait, do 4-year-olds go to pre-kindergarten? I don't know the answer to that. I don't remember how old our kids were. I don't remember.
4. That's where my granddaughter is.
Entering pre-kindergarten.
Yeah. So what is the message you want to make sure to get out to the world right now, and how do we get in touch with you?
Thank you. The company's website is theepicfit.com, theepicfit.com. It's invite only. However, you can apply to join there. And I don't do any of the backstage stuff. My wife and her assistant, our members, essentially run the company. So it's fun to be part of that. And then I invest well over $100K a year to be in rooms, US dollars. And then was just tired of being in rooms with mostly men driven by ego and narcissism, which, by the way, is fine. I just was tired of it. So
yeah.
Okay, great. And our membership's 40% women. I think it'll eventually be over 50%. But it's a balance in the best of ways. And I mean, one message, geez.
No, I know.
I mean, so what I learned in this book writing process, or even writing these poems or whatever, songs, all these things, all these amazing, hung out with Sir Richard Branson on his private island for a week this year, rang the NASDAQ bell, all this, whatever that, Deepak Chopra's doing. I'm very grateful for that. I'm very thankful. The number one thing I've learned this year is unconditional love. Number one. By far, there's not even a quote. Like, I've really learned that. That's really all that matters.
That's a big practice for me now too. Unconditional love and no judgment.
Yes.
And that's a practice you get to practice all day long, throughout all moments, starting with yourself when you wake up and ending with yourself when you go to bed. And it's incredible. And people ask me, like, why did you buy in the Dominican Republic? Why didn't you buy in Florida? And I said, well, Florida doesn't change your perspective. And going out and mingling and having deep conversations with people that are on different class levels, whether it be, poverty level to multi-bajillionaires, which sounds like you have the same gift as me, where you're able to do that. And not only able, you enjoy it.
Why would, people are,
You're missing out. I've gotten some of the most, profound lessons from people that had no education, high school dropout right here.
Half the people I talk to can barely read because they're dyslexic, but that doesn't,
But it brings about, when you have a weakness in one area, it brings out strengths in other areas that we'll never have access to, because we can read, right? Or we can we have electric, whatever it is. So I love it. I'm really excited that we connected. I don't know what our purpose together is, but there's going to be something. I consider you a mentor right now, and sorry you're stuck with that. Because just living in this space that you're at is my most hairy, audacious goal at this moment, and I'm doing it. I'm in a
company, because that's what people actually want. So
yeah.
And then most people make excuses their whole life and not invest to do it. It's fine. I just don't understand.
Yeah. consciousness. So I'll be on that mission to help people raise their consciousness, and because on that journey, it helps me raise my own, and helps me to be in this place, in this space, and feel supported and loved. And even when those moments of doubt, insecurity, fear, scarcity, they come in, but now I know how to.
Great.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to have to send you a picture of Tim Marr so you can see how similar you guys look, and you couldn't be any different in personality, but he was one of my favorite human beings. So thank you for that nostalgia by just looking at you. I love the crow hat. And,
that's my spirit. It's a raven. It's my spirit.
A raven. Yeah. Sorry. I should have known it's a raven, but same thing to me. Crows and ravens. But thank you so much for being here. And I think you're fantastic and love everything that you're doing. And we will be in touch. Everybody, reach out if you need support in any way, shape, or form. Thank you.